So I'm here with Andrew Henderson. Hendo, thank you so much for joining me today. There have been some ups and there have been some downs in the season so far. Do you want to just give us a review of what's been going on?
Yeah, certainly, Neil. I'm sure plenty of the fans are wanting some answers. Look, I think we'll start with the team. I'll go into a little bit about the club in a bit, but I'll start with the team at the moment. I think it's pretty fair to say that performances from a team perspective certainly haven't been good enough and haven't been at the levels or the standard that we expect here at this club and of each other. I think there's a few reasons for that. I think the reality is we've had a 50% turnover of playing personnel from last season, and the chemistry just hasn't quite been the same at this moment in time. There's been a lot of change within the team each week. Some of that's been based on performance. I've made a couple of changes based on performance, but a lot of it has been forced through injury, if we're being brutally honest. I remember going into Sheffield a couple of weeks ago and we had 10 first team players unavailable. We had 8 unavailable this week, and we've potentially picked up another one this week as well. And that's the reality. We came into pre-season and four players are out long term in Pufferungi, Cunningham, Dalton Grant, Michael Channing. And then off the back of that, we start the season and we lose Tom Spencer and Eddie Batty long term after round 2. Andy Ackers joins them on the sideline not long after that with another long-term injury. And then through that next sort of last 5 or 6 weeks, we've had Bartow missing through injury. We've had Offerdale missing a couple of weeks through injury. Matt Garside missed a couple of games through injury. Matt Davis missed a couple of games through injury. So each week we've probably had anywhere from 7 to 10 first-team players unavailable. And it means that we haven't got that competition for places on the training field, albeit I don't think the training has been an issue. We've actually been training very, very well. Standards have been pretty good on the training field, but we're just unable to deliver those standards come game day. And as coaches, we've been coming up with different strategies and ideas to try and come up with the answers of, well, why is this happening and what can we do better to maybe make things a little bit different, and we've changed our approach slightly, but it's just not quite translating. And I think there's part of that is the fact that we've had a large turnover of playing personnel. We've had a lot of injury, and a lot of the injuries has come to the pivotal roles, and I think we've had a different hooker and halfback combination in these first 9 or 10 games that we've seen. We've had Ben Pointer in at 9, we've had Lewis Foster in at 9, Cunningham, Ackers, we've had Bartow playing a bit of 9, we've had Bartow and Samet, we've had Pufferungi and Samet, we've had, yet to have obviously Pufferungi and Bartow yet, but, we have had that for one game, and that's the reality is we've lacked that bit of continuity, and we're just not fine. I mean, that doesn't excuse, some of the errors, some of the discipline that we've been demonstrating, but I think a lot of that comes from the fact that when you're lacking a bit of cohesion, the chemistry's not quite there. There's a little bit of lack of trust and confidence within the team. People then probably try and solve it on their own, whether that's selfishly or just trying too hard. And I think we've seen examples of that in our performances. It hasn't been good enough, and we have to fix that and fix that quickly. But that's for me the reality. I look back to where we've been the last couple of years as a team, and I certainly came in 2015 and we were struggling then, and all about that year was just becoming a competitive team with what we had, and a lot of young kids got an opportunity, and we progressed from there into 2016, and albeit the recruitment didn't raise a lot of eyebrows, I knew they were good players that we're bringing in, and I think we had a real good balance to the team. There was some good leadership within the team, a good balance of experience, of hunger and desire within some of these championship guys getting an opportunity to be full-time, and it worked for us. And the other thing is we never faced the adversity that we're facing this year. We never had a major injury crisis as such. We were pretty healthy for the majority of the season, and it kept things competitive at training. People were fighting for places, and there was a little bit more accountability and ownership. And we've come into this season, and like I said, I said before, we've had anywhere from 7 to 10 first grade players unavailable each week, and that's tough. And probably players have got a little bit comfortable. They probably know that they're going to be playing next week. I've challenged the players to take a little bit more ownership and responsibility on individual performance. They've got to start challenging each other more, making each other more accountable, because at the moment we're accepting average performance as the norm, and that's got to come a little bit from within. And obviously as us coaches driving and nurturing and trying to push that, they've got to drive that from within as well. And there's a responsibility on both parts. And we're just not quite there yet. But reality is we are where we are, and we have to turn this around and turn it around quickly. I certainly believe that the players that we've brought in, the quality is not in question. The quality and talent of this playing group is not in question. But what is in question at the moment is that we're not playing as a team, and we're not playing for each other. And we need some players now to step up, become leaders within this team. We need some people to take control of this team, and we need the team to start trusting and believing in one another, and doing what they can to help themselves and help each other for the greater good of the team. And that's the message that we're trying to get through to these guys at the moment. And hopefully we'll see a response this week, and hopefully have a decent Easter period, because the reality is two games over the Easter period, we come away with 2 results there. We'll still be in a decent position in the league. We'll start to get some of our bodies back on the field after Easter there, which will help create that competition for places. A little bit of confidence will grow and positivity within the place. And this team can really then kick on with a big push in the second half of the season and still achieve what it wants to achieve. Because ultimately, for any team, I say to the players every year, it's always a different team. Even if there was only 5 or 6 new recruits that came in this year instead of 14, you know what I mean, then it'd still be a different team to last year. And it's about what this team can achieve. And it still has a great opportunity as a team to achieve something. Yes, we're doing it tough. We're not playing well. Yes, we've got some injury issues, and we've got some other things here with lack of continuity and belief and trust and things like that. But that can be fixed, okay? And it can turn around. And I do truly believe we're one good performance away from turning things around. And I'm hoping that we'll see that on Friday. But we need your support more than ever now. This is when, as fans of the game, as fans of the club, we need you to get behind the team, get behind the boys, and help them as much as they need to help each other get through this tough period, because I do believe that we have the quality here to turn things around. I believe in my coaching team, I believe in these players, and I'm sure things will come good for us, but we need to have that push and support from you. On the other side of things, looking at the club perspective, I think we need to look at some of the positives work that is going on at the club. Since we've been here at Ealing in the last 12 months, we've seen crowds ticket sales have gone up, which is a positive. I think we've seen a lot more being a lot more proactive within the community. We're getting out to a lot more schools now. I think it's great, the work that John Keys is doing as community manager. He's got some really good programs going on, which is involving the first team players. We've also been able to give some opportunities to some of our academy players, and even Will Lovell, who took a nasty injury at the start of the year. We've got him now working on our community team, and some of these academy players, Alfie Lawrence, Jake Ogden, Max Savage, are out there working in this community department, spreading the gospel. So I think that's a real positive. We've got steps in place to set up an education centre and a performance centre, hopefully at a nearby school, which will then give an opportunity for some of our younger players to study full time and get more coaching behind their belts to develop them moving forward. We're also in talks about setting up a community club in Ealing as well, which I think is really positive for the game and for the club. So I think there's some positives we need to focus on. And I think some of the good work being done at the youth level, the scholarship, they've gone out there, they're competing well, they've beat Salford, they beat Cumbria, they've had a real competitive game against Wakefield away and backed up with just losing narrowly to Hull FC. So we've got some great kids there at our 15s and 16s, and those guys, coaches, are doing a great job there. I think some of the work that's going on at the academy that Jamie Langley's been doing alongside Adrian Patel and Rob Powell and things like that. Those kids have had a tough start of the year, but now they've come through it together. Had a couple of good results, and obviously should have won the game against Catalans here on the weekend. But again, we've got some really good kids in that program that I've got an eye on for the future here for next season. So I think we can be proud of that. Proud that we are still producing players. We are still bringing players through a system. I think we've got a good ethos here now at the club. I think we've got some strong community links now building, and a strong community ethos to the club. So that for me, there's a lot of positives going on at the club. It's just unfortunate that on the first team side of things, we're just not quite where we need to be at this moment in time. But I do believe, and I have trust in what we're doing, that we can turn that around. So I'm hoping that some of this discussion today will sort of shed a little bit of light onto onto what's going on and where we're at and why, and answer some of those questions, which I'm sure a lot of people have been asking. But I really truly believe in what we stand for here at the London Broncos and what needs to happen moving forward. And the reality is now with this group of players at first team level just going back onto the team, they've got the opportunity to change now, and I'm hoping that they'll do that. And if we do need to look to strengthen and we have to bring in a couple of new faces to freshen things up, then that's a direction we may have to go down. But I'm hoping that the team that we put out this week will be able to rely on to get the job done.